welcome back to the Deep Dive. In this mini deep dive, we're tackling a question we get a lot. How do you hire a TYPO3 developer? If you're looking for a simpler way to hire, head over to theperfectdeveloper.com and try out the 5 questions. It's all you need. So let's get right into it. You're looking to hire a TYPO3 developer, but what exactly does that mean?
That's a great question, and it's important to understand that a TYPO3 developer isn't just any web developer. They specialize in the TYPO3 content management system.
So they really need to have a deep understanding of this specific platform. It's not just general web development skill.
Exactly. It's like you wouldn't hire a general contractor to build a spaceship.
Right.
You'd want a rocket scientist.
Makes sense.
And TYPO3 developers, they're kind of like the rocket scientists of the TYPO3 world.
Okay, so that makes sense. Now, I've heard that TYPO3 originated in Germany. Does that mean that to find the best developers, I need to be looking in Berlin or Munich?
Well, Germany definitely has a high concentration of TYPO3 expertise. It makes sense given its origins there. So if you're thinking about overseas hires, it's a good place to start. And theperfectdeveloper.com can actually streamline that process for you.
Interesting. So location's a factor, but let's talk about cost.
Yeah.
What kind of salary can you expect to pay for a TYPO3 developer?
Well, you get what you pay for, right? But just to give you a rough idea, an experienced TYPO3 developer in the US could cost you somewhere between $70,000 to $120,000 a year.
Wow. Okay.
But if you look at Germany, where, like we said, TYPO3 is thriving, you might find slightly lower salaries, maybe around $45,000 to $80,000.
So there's some regional variation there.
Yeah, for sure.
That makes sense. Now, what about hiring models? Do you go full-time, freelance, agency? How do you even begin to figure that out?
Well, that's something that theperfectdeveloper.com can really help you with. They really consider your specific project needs, your budget, and your timeline to recommend the best model for you. But to give you a quick overview, you've got options like full-time in-house, where you have a developer dedicated to your team, or part-time in-house if you don't need someone full-time. Then you've got outsourcing with freelancers, which can give you a lot of flexibility, or agencies, which can bring a whole team to the table.
So many choices. It sounds a little overwhelming. How do you decide which hiring model is actually the right one for you?
That comes down to understanding what you really need. Do you need someone deeply embedded in your team, working side by side with you daily?
Yeah.
Or do you need something more flexible where you can scale your resources up or down as needed? And of course, your budget is a major factor.
Right.
Full-time in-house developers come with salaries, benefits, the whole 9 yards.
Okay, so aligning your hiring model with your project's demands and your resources.
Got it.
Got it. What about offshoring? That seems like it's becoming a more popular option for companies these days.
Yeah, offshoring can be a great way to tap into talent all over the world and potentially even save some money. Places like Eastern Europe, South Asia, Latin America, they've all become real hubs for tech talent.
Right.
But it's super important to weigh the challenges too. Time zone differences can make communication difficult, and language barriers can add another layer of complexity.
So offshoring is a trade-off with some potential benefits, but also some things to watch out for.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so now I'm getting a clearer picture of what's out there. But where do I even start looking for these TYPO3 developers? Where do they hang out online?
You've got your usual places, LinkedIn, GitHub, but beyond just finding them, you need to really vet them, make sure they actually have the right skills and experience. And that's where a platform like theperfectdeveloper.com is so useful.
Okay.
They have this rigorous vetting process that uses AI-powered matching and also a human-led approach to make sure you're only connecting with qualified candidates.
So they're really doing the heavy lifting when it comes to finding and screening developers.
Yeah, exactly. They really take the guesswork out of it.
That's really helpful. But beyond just, checking off boxes on a resume, what are some of the actual skills I should be looking for? What sets the good TYPO3 developers apart from the rest?
That is a fantastic question, and one that we'll dive into in part 2 of this deep dive. Stay tuned. So you want to look beyond just basic coding skills, right? A good TYPO3 developer is going to have a really deep understanding of the platform's architecture. They'll understand caching mechanisms and know security best practices. They should be comfortable working with TYPO3's templating system, Fluid, and be able to write code that's clean and efficient.
So it's more than just knowing how to code. It's about understanding how TYPO3 itself works.
Exactly. And let's not forget about extensions.
Oh, right.
TYPO3 extensions, they're like superpowers for your website. They add all this amazing functionality. You want a developer who knows how to use those extensions effectively, whether it's integrating existing ones or even creating custom extensions to meet your specific needs.
So expansion experience is a major plus. That makes sense. Now, let's say I've found a few developers who look good on paper. How can I really vet their skills? What are some red flags to watch out for?
One of the biggest red flags is poor communication.
Oh, interesting.
If they can't explain their work clearly or they have trouble understanding what you need, that's a warning sign.
Yeah.
You're going to be collaborating with this person, so clear, concise communication, it's essential.
Communication is key, right? In any relationship. What about their technical skills? How can I actually know if they're as good as they say they are?
Don't just take their word for it, Ray. Ask for code samples.
Okay.
Look at their GitHub contributions. Check out their portfolio. And if you're not a tech expert yourself, don't be afraid to bring someone in who can help you evaluate their skills.
So second opinion is always a good idea.
Definitely a good idea.
Now, you mentioned theperfectdeveloper.com earlier. How does their platform actually help with vetting developers?
Theperfectdeveloper.com, they really take the guesswork out of vetting. They have this 4-step verification system that goes way beyond just looking at a resume. They use AI-powered matching to find the best candidates.
Wow.
Then their team of experts, they do these really rigorous interviews and assessments to make sure the developers are the real deal. They check references, verify credentials, all of that.
So they're not just letting anyone on their platform?
No, definitely not. Very carefully vetted.
Okay, I think I have a better sense now of what to look for. But let's flip the script for a second.
Yeah.
What are some green flags? What are some things that tell me, okay, I found a great TYPO3 developer?
One big green flag is passion.
Okay.
You want someone who's genuinely excited about TYPO3, someone who keeps up with the latest trends, who's always learning new things. Look for developers who are contributing to the TYPO3 community, sharing their knowledge, pushing the boundaries of what's possible with the platform.
So it's more than just a job for them.
Exactly. It's about finding someone who really loves working with TYPO3. Another green flag is a strong portfolio. And don't just look at how many projects they've done, really dig into the quality of their work.
Okay.
Are the websites well designed? Are they user-friendly? Are they optimized for performance?
Right.
Do they really show a deep understanding of what TYPO3 can do?
So it's about looking beyond the surface and really seeing, okay, this is quality work.
Precisely. And finally, we talked about this before, communication, super important.
Yeah.
Can they explain complicated technical stuff in a way you can understand, even if you're not a developer yourself? Do they ask good questions? Do they seem genuinely interested in your project and your goals?
Okay, so passion, a solid portfolio, and clear communication.
Absolutely.
Those are some great indicators. Now, let's say I found this amazing TYPO3 developer, the perfect fit for my project. How do I make sure they stick around? What are some tips for keeping those top developers happy?
First things first, competitive compensation and benefits. Make sure you're paying them what they're worth. Offer perks that matter to them, maybe flexible work arrangements or professional development opportunities.
So show them that you value their work, that you're invested in their growth.
Absolutely. It's also really important to create a work environment where learning and growth are encouraged.
Okay.
Encourage them to go to conferences, take online courses, stay up to date with all the latest TYPO3 advancements.
That makes sense. TYPO3 is constantly evolving, so it's important for them to stay ahead of the curve.
Exactly. And remember, you're not just hiring someone to write code, you're hiring someone to be part of your team, someone who can help you reach your business goals.
Okay, let's switch gears a little bit. We've covered a lot of ground, but I want to touch on something you mentioned earlier, the future of TYPO3. What are some of the emerging trends and technologies that are shaping the TYPO3 landscape?
One trend that's really picking up steam is headless CMS. It's a way of separating the back-end content management system from the front end, the presentation layer. It gives developers more flexibility to use different front-end technologies and create unique and customized experiences.
Headless CMS. I have to admit, I'm not really familiar with that concept. Can you explain it in a way that, someone who's not a developer would understand?
Think of it like this. Imagine you have this delicious cake. The cake itself is the content, and the way it's decorated and presented, that's the front end. In a traditional CMS, the cake and the decoration are like stuck together. But in a headless CMS, you can separate them. You can have that same delicious cake, but decorate it in tons of different ways to suit different tastes and occasions.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get it. So it's about having more freedom to present the content in different ways without being limited by the back-end system.
Exactly. And TYPO3 is really well suited for this headless approach. It gives developers a ton of flexibility. Another trend to keep an eye on is the growing importance of accessibility and user experience. UX websites need to be inclusive and accessible to everyone, no matter their abilities or disabilities.
So it's not just about building a website that looks good. It's about making sure that everyone can actually use it.
Precisely. TYPO3 has a strong focus on accessibility, but developers need to stay up to date on the latest best practices. And of course, we can't forget about SEO, search engine optimization.
Right.
SEO is always changing, so developers need to be on top of the latest strategies for optimizing TYPO3 websites for search engines.
So it's about creating websites that are not only beautiful and functional, but also accessible and optimized for search engines.
That's the goal. And TYPO3 is a powerful platform that can help you achieve all of that.
Wow, the world of TYPO3 is certainly dynamic and always evolving.
Yeah,
Seems like there's always something new to learn and explore.
absolutely. That's what makes it so exciting to work with.
Well, I have to say, this has been an incredibly insightful deep dive. You've really demystified the world of hiring TYPO3 developers and given us a roadmap for finding and retaining top talent. And for our listeners who are ready to start this journey, remember to visit theperfectdeveloper.com and try the 5 questions. It's the easiest way to find the perfect developer. But before we wrap up, I have one final question for you. What's one piece of advice you would give to someone who's about to start the process of hiring a TYPO3 developer? What's the most important thing to keep in mind?
I'd say treat it like a partnership, not just a transaction. You're not just hiring someone to write code. You're bringing someone onto your team who's going to play a vital role in shaping your digital presence.
So it's about finding someone who shares your vision and understands your goals, not just someone who can code.
Exactly. Take the time to really understand their approach to development, how they communicate, and how they handle challenges. Look for someone who's proactive, who asks good questions, and who really wants to see you succeed. And remember, theperfectdeveloper.com can be a huge help in this process. They can connect you with developers who have a proven track record and a deep understanding of TYPO3.
It sounds like finding the right TYPO3 developer is a bit like finding a treasure. It takes some digging, some careful evaluation, but the reward is a website that truly shines.
That's a great way to put it. And remember, the journey doesn't end once the website is launched. TYPO3 is a platform that needs ongoing maintenance updates and maybe even new features down the road. So finding a developer who's in it for the long haul, someone you can trust and collaborate with, that's essential.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
It's about building a lasting relationship, not just a one-off project.
Absolutely. And that's where choosing the right hiring model comes in. Do you need someone on your team long-term, or is this a short-term project? ThePerfectDeveloper.com can help you figure all of that out and make sure you find the perfect fit for your needs.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground in this mini deep dive. We've explored what makes TYPO3 developers unique, the different hiring models, and the key skills to look for. We also touched on emerging trends and the importance of finding a developer who's a true partner. Remember, if you're feeling a little overwhelmed by the whole process of finding the perfect TYPO3 developer, theperfectdeveloper.com can help. Try the 5 questions now at theperfectdeveloper.com. It's the easiest way to find the perfect developer. And as you embark on your TYPO3 journey, keep this in mind. A well-crafted TYPO3 website can be a powerful tool for growth. It can help you connect with your audience, showcase your brand, and really drive your business forward. So invest wisely in finding the right developer and watch your digital presence flourish. Until next time, happy dieting.